In this video, we are going to be talking about the power, the beauty, and the dangers of attraction. Attraction is beautiful. I mean, literally, when you see beauty, you are attracted to it. And that's a good thing. And that's the way God made it. But sometimes it can go awry and lead to destruction. So we have to be careful and navigate the waters properly. Attraction is the very first stage of love. It's not love. And we all know that, in the beginning, it can be very strong and absorbing. And we feel, sweaty palms and butterflies in our stomach. And just coming closer to someone can really just change us chemically and really make us like, wow, like what is this person doing to us? And we feel like we just want to be with this person. There's such an attraction that we just want to be with them. Now, sometimes attraction is just beauty, and sometimes it draws us right in. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with attraction, with these feelings. They're natural and they're normal as long as we recognize and know that they are not in themselves love. The problem comes in many times when people mistake feelings for love. I just feel, especially when I was a kid, I would think, oh my gosh, I just love this girl so much. I feel so much for her. I think about her all the time. Even when I'm not with her, I'm thinking about her. And just the feelings that were generated in me were love. I must love her because I just think about her so much. I must love her because I just feel this strong attraction to her and I want to be with her so much, so often, all the time. And to kind of tame these feelings sometimes is the toughest part. And if you could think of like a staircase, attraction is the very first step. We think it's like the be-all and end-all sometimes, especially when we're young and immature. We think it's like the top steps. But really, it's the very first step. It's the doorway to love. It's the step that goes up to love. Love is at the top, but it's a long, arduous, difficult journey to get to the top of the steps, to get to love, and especially a love that's going to last. If it's going to lead to marriage, then you want a foundation that's going to last for the rest of your life. And going really fast and basing it on really shallow feelings and thinking that you love each other when you really haven't built the depth of that staircase or that foundation, it's not going to last. And to be clear, attraction is good. Feelings are good. Emotions are good. That's how I met my wife. The first day that I met my wife, I was talking to like 6 or 7 people. I had them all encapsulated in my story. They were all like focused in on it, and I had them in a half circle around me, and I'm talking and here and there, and I'm getting really into my story. And out of the corner of my eye, I saw this light just flash, and I saw like choirs of angels, going through the sky. And I looked over and I saw this beautiful woman walk through the door of this young adult group, this Catholic young adult group. And I had never seen her before. And I did see all the angels going around her head and singing and blowing trumpets. And I was like, wow, heaven just opened that door. And of course, I'm exaggerating here, but I did see a beautiful woman walk through that door, so much so that I literally can't tell you to this day what I was talking about with my friends. I literally was like, whoa. And I literally left my friends and said, can you guys hold on one second? And I went to welcome the new girl. And so she wasn't my wife at the time, but that was the first time I met her. And now we're married, but it all started with that attraction. The problem with attraction is that it can be so powerful, but it can also be extremely superficial and shallow. People say love is blind. Well, love is blind in that regard because first of all, it's not really love. It's feelings are blind in that regard. We have such a strong attraction to the person, but we don't know anything about them. That's the job of our intellect, getting to know them, to ponder, to rationalize, to reflect, to decide, to make good decisions. That is what our intellect is for. And so many people divorce feelings from intellect. They just divorce them. They shut off their intellect. In fact, I met this one girl once who said to me like, oh my gosh, I just love this guy. I mean, I know we barely met and I know I barely know him. And I just feel like I'm on cloud 9 all the time. And I'm usually such a rational person, but I just don't care about that side of me anymore. And he's the one. And it's like she literally shut off her brain. She shut off her critical thinking skills, which is absolutely necessary to making a good decision, an informed decision about a person. Someone once asked me at a conference, it was a young adult conference, what was the biggest thing that leads to the happiness in the marriage that I have with my wife. And there's a lot of things, of course, but one of the things I said is finding the right person in the first place. If you don't find the right person, you're going to be miserable for life. Or if you don't find a person who's trustworthy and can love you back, you're going to be miserable for life. And if we base everything or primarily or even a lot on feelings, that's the direction it's going. I know so many people who have shut off their brains because they're just so happy in the relationship. They've never felt like this before. They couldn't feel like they're any higher on this earth. And their marriage is over in 5 years, 10 years, or it's still going, but it's miserable. They fight all the time. They're not happy because it was based on the wrong things. It didn't have that firm foundation. I mean, how many people have fallen out of love? How many people are like, oh, I used to love them so much, but we fell out of love. We don't love each other anymore. Really? Because the Bible says that love lasts forever. Love is forever. So you literally can't fall out of love. What you mean is that at one time you felt it so strongly, but now you don't feel it anymore. And perhaps you have fallen out of love in the sense that you don't feel it anymore, but love is a decision. Love is a choice. It's one that you choose to make every day for the rest of your life. And many people often mistake love for feelings. I know a woman who put up with abuse. I know several women who put up with abuse because they just feel like they're in love with that person. Their attraction to them is so strong. The chemistry between them and perhaps the sexual relationship is so strong that they put up with abuse. That's why John Paul II said in his Theology of the Body and Love and Responsibility that many times love and feelings are opposites. What we feel is not reflective of love, and oftentimes they're opposites because what attracts us and what happens after that are sometimes two different things. For example, I know people who are madly attracted to each other, and in fact, they make out all the time, and they literally can't keep off of each other because the chemistry and attraction is so strong. They hug, they kiss, they make out, and they go to places that are sinful. And what do they say to each other? I love you. But love is doing what's best for the other person, for their mind, for their heart, for their soul, and for their eternity. If you truly love that person, you will also love their soul and lead them to heaven. How can you possibly say that you love someone while you're leading them to hell through sin? You can't. You're clearly mistaking love and lust, or love and feelings, or love and puppy love, or some other form of love that's not actually love. If we truly love a person, we will do what's right for them, even if it's hard and even if it's a sacrifice. Another thing we need to remember is that attraction, emotions, feelings, they change constantly. They're fickle. Sometimes we really feel strong for a person, and at other times we don't. Sometimes we really feel something for them, and at other times we don't, which is why we fall out of love. But if we can remember that love is like a mountain, you get to the highest peak, then you come down, then you go up, you go down. Sometimes you're going to feel a lot, sometimes you're going to feel nothing at all, but that should never change the status of love. Just because you feel up here doesn't mean you love them more. And just because you don't feel anything doesn't mean you love them less. Love is an informed intellectual decision based on a choice to love the other person. It's a sacrifice of the self to give yourself to them, whether you feel like it or not. Now, I'm not saying go find the ugliest person and date them. I'm not saying that at all. And in fact, there should be some attraction there. I mean, you don't want to pity someone. Oh, I think you're the ugliest person on planet Earth, but you know what? You probably deserve someone. I should love you. No, that's not how it works. Some people say, oh, I'm not attracted to this person at all, but he's really great. He's a great person. Whereas I am really attracted to this person over here, really attracted to them, but they're not a good person. And I can't imagine him kissing or her kissing my kids to sleep at night. I can't imagine them sacrificing for us as a family. So what should we do? Should we go with the person I'm attracted to, but they're not good for me? Or should I go to the person who's unattractive, but I don't really feel anything for, but they're a good person? Well, I usually say wait for someone who has both. There should be at least some attraction in a relationship. You don't want to pity party the other person. And to be fair, there are other ways to be attracted to somebody. I know a woman who I used to work with at a restaurant, and she was kind of attractive, but not really. But she was so nice, so funny, so loving, and her and I hit it off. We never dated or anything, but I liked her as a person, and she became more and more attractive to me. Like, I found her more attractive as a person. So, physical attraction isn't always the only kind of attraction. You really can fall in love with someone, even if you're not like super attracted to them. But generally, as a rule, you probably should have some attraction to them. The problem is that many people get into relationships with people that they know they shouldn't be in a relationship with. They're compromising their morals and values. And as long as you're with somebody who you are not supposed to be with, then you cannot be with the person that God has for you. Get out. Get out of the rationalizations. Get out of the relationship that you know you're not supposed to be in. Get out of the abuse. Get out of the compromise. Get out of any relationship that's not what you want it to be, not what you dreamed it to be, not what God wants it to be, because then you'll never find your happily ever after. I know people who were with people in a relationship for so long that they probably missed the person that God had for them, and they know it. But what can they do? Because they chose to listen to their feelings and their fears rather than their intellect and what they knew was right. John Paul II is the master on love and relationships and marriage and, personhood and all that sort of thing. And he says this: a woman is readily seen by a man as a good, and a man by a woman as a good. There are many times we are attracted to a person and make judgments about them, regarding them, but without any knowledge of them. That's what attraction does. It makes judgments about a person, but without any knowledge of them. So we can think we know a lot about them, especially maybe you've had the experience of meeting someone at a bar and you've talked all night long and you're like, oh my gosh, I feel like I've known this person forever. This person is like my soulmate. We just connect on everything. And then you broke up like 3 weeks later or 3 months later, or it just never worked out because you don't really know the person. John Paul says, don't make the mistake of saying that something's love when it's not love. For example, if you're crossing the bridge, you want to make sure there's water underneath, and that water takes a really long time to come up, and that's the love. You don't want to just put a bridge over an empty pond and call it love. So the most important thing is not only to be attracted to the person, which is good, but to then inform yourself on who they really are, because we have to add that knowledge to them. Now, generally, he says that men are more shallow than women. Nowadays, that's probably not the case. But historically, men see a woman and are like, whoa, she's hot. I want that. Okay, that is attraction. Sometimes we can't help our feelings. It just comes up. But it's shallow. I mean, literally the shallowest level, sensual level, shallow. Whereas women are more informed by nature. They look at a man and say, wow, I'm attracted to him as a person, his strength. They don't just see like, oh, he's hot. They look at him and say, wow, he's really funny. He's telling jokes. He seems to have a good sense of humor. Wow, he has good character. They see the person as a whole. They're attracted more to the whole person, which is good. But then we still need to go further and identify who that person is deep inside. And that takes a long time, which is the purpose of our next video. Many people rush into relationships and they end up blowing up the relationship. They end up crying. They end up dying. They end up having every bad thing happen to them because they rush so fast in the relationships and they never informed themselves as to who the other person was. They didn't realize that the person was like this, or had mental health issues, or was psycho, or this or that, because they didn't take the time to really get to know the person. And that is one of the greatest pieces of advice I can tell you, is to really get to know the person. But we'll talk about that in our next videos on really getting to know them and not going too fast, too quick. The bottom line is true love needs to be selfless, sacrificial, and reciprocal, both sides giving 100%. And we need to really learn to know a person and who they are to see if they have the capability of holding our heart and not letting it drop on the ground and shatter all over the place. Are they responsible enough, strong enough, mature enough, and have the character enough to protect our hearts and us and our future and everything that we love and hold dear? Or are they just going to drop it and let it shatter, and we're going to be sad and miserable for years? So attraction, good, great, powerful, normal, natural. Even in a relationship, it's a good thing. Even in marriage, it's a good thing, even though it fades in marriage, which is why many people fall out of love, because your attraction, your chemistry, all of that eventually fades. Sometimes it fades a lot, but that's okay, because you can still have a raging fire of love that's there, whether you feel it or not. I know one lady who said, I love my husband more and more every single day, and she had been married many, many years, decades. Even though she probably didn't feel it anymore, she still loved him more and more every single day, because it's a choice. And it's beautiful and it's wonderful. And it's not shallow and fickle like feelings and emotions and attraction and things like that. Good, but love is better. Don't derail love by confusing attraction and feelings and emotions for love. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope it helped. If you haven't seen the earlier parts of this Pathway to Love series, then check it out. And also check out our future videos that are going to be coming. If you haven't subscribed, we only post on this channel once or twice a week. So if you want to know when the videos come out, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you know when the videos come out. Please feel free to leave a comment if you have questions about love, attraction, feelings. That's why we're here. If you have questions about anything love, marriage, kids related, that's why we're here. If you have suggestions for making videos, if you want a topic made, let us know and maybe we can make that topic for you. But thank you so much for watching. Make sure to check out our description section below and follow us on social media for daily inspiration.